All right, everyone. Welcome to this latest installment of the For College for Life virtual program series. Today, we are excited to have Odell Bizzell with us, talking about something that is going to be of particular interest, especially during this COVID-19 time where we're trying to reimagine, reconceptualize, and also retool ourselves to be the most effective leaders that we can be. Today, we're talking about meeting-less leadership. For those of you who don't know, Odell is part of the For College for Life speaking team. He's a nationally recognized leadership speaker, high energy, high enthusiasm. And this, of course, this Zoom session does not give you a full impression of his abilities because he's not able to bounce around the room and be interactive. But I hope that you get some sense of his enthusiasm for this topic. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Odell Bizzell. I also, again, want to welcome you to ask questions in the chat function, and we will save some time at the end of the program for those. Here you go, Odell. It's yours.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Casey. Thanks so much, everybody, for being on. This is exciting to meet you virtually, many of you that I have not. And one thing that's really cool about, let me go back through really quick. I was reviewing a little bit. One thing that's really cool about all of this is that we get to ask ourselves questions, and we're going to be going through a bunch of questions during this presentation. It's going to go quickly a little bit. So if you got something to take notes with, I encourage you to do so. If not, then make sure you want to get just a few big questions that we're getting. And I want to start by saying this. I thought I had it all figured out. And a lot of times before calamity strikes, we're here. We think we've got it all figured out. And I was going to be a famous basketball player. That's what I was going to do. I was going to be a famous basketball player. And I was going to go to the NBA. That's a picture of my AAU team who won a national invitational championship when I was 14 years young. And they spelled my name wrong in the paper, but that's all good. There I am. And I was on the fast track to make millions, or so I thought. But see, here's the real thing that I wanted. I just wanted to make my mom and dad proud. That's what I wanted. And my parents, my mom, she came over from West Africa when she was in her teens to go to college. My dad was in the U.S. Air Force, and I'm their oldest son. And so I wanted to be the kid to kind of help our family grow. And all I knew at that point in time was I was pretty good at basketball, and they made a bunch of money doing it. And unfortunately, when Casey introduced me, he did not introduce me as former basketball all-star. He didn't, because I didn't make it, and I felt like a failure. I felt like that I wasn't able to help my parents because I didn't make a bunch of money, and I didn't do all these things that I wanted to do at a particular moment in time. I did graduated from North Carolina State University. I got my bachelor's in communication, but I felt like I was missing something. And a lot of times in life, when you're going through transitions, when you're going through different things, you need advice from different people. And this is a picture of me and my mentor, William Thompson, about a month or so after I graduated. And he became my mentor. He became a leader of mine. And this session is all about meeting less leadership. And in these times, especially as I'm recording this, as we're going through this, we are having to meet less in person, right? We're not able to meet in person as much, if at all. But also, we are having to make our meetings more efficient. And as leaders, what we have to realize and figure out is this virtual component and this virtual medium causes us to be really focused on a few things that make the most impact. And so my mentor, I didn't meet with him a lot. I met with him maybe once a month, but the words that he gave me, the principles that he gave me, the directions that he gave me, I followed, and I was able to do some really cool things. And one thing that he taught me was that in times of uncertainty and transition, we don't necessarily need more meetings. We just need to be more efficient in what we're doing. We just need to make sure that we maximize that time And so we're going to be talking about some of those things today. I love this quote by William James. The best use of life is to spend it on something that outlasts it. And as we're going through life every single day that we wake up, every single day that we're facing, whether it be good news, negative news, neutral news, or negative emotions or what have you, we've got to understand that life is about more than just what we see. It's more about the people in it. And so I've been able and fortunate to go all across the country to speak. And I share these because for me, these are great memories. And I'm hoping, eventually we'll get back to here. But I want to really talk about this. And before we jump into the content, questions, not questions, particularly as Casey said at the beginning, we're going to be taking questions. You can put them in the chat at any time. But questions open up possibilities, statements close possibilities. And so as leaders, one thing that we really need to get good at is asking better questions so that we can develop better answers to help the people that we lead. And I love this quote by Tony Robbins. It says, the quality of your life is dependent upon the quality of questions you ask yourself. And so now we need to do better, all of us, at asking better questions, not necessarily making a statement that says this is how it is and this is how it's going to be forever. But no, asking a better questions like, what does all of this make possible, right? Like, what does this make possible? How can we help better? What can we do to make it easier in the midst of difficulty? And so during this presentation, we're going to cover the missing leadership ingredient that limits impact. It's something that you know, but it's often overlooked. I'm also going to give you a list of questions, the greatest questions leaders should ask themselves and the people that they're leading. And then finally, we're going to be discussing specific actions that 98% of the population underrates that leaders like you cannot miss out on. I'm really excited to share this information with you. Are you ready? If you're ready, just put in the chat, say me, just me, if you're ready. Really quick, if you're ready. Love it, love it, love it. And also I want to let you know, for those of you that are able to stick around, you're going to get a free audiobook version of my book, Refuse to Lose, 6 Ways to Overcome Obstacles and Win the Game of Life. It's just a thank you from me and the For College for Life team. You all are on the front lines. You are doing great, great work, and we appreciate you. And also we appreciate you taking the time to share your time with us. All right, so we're talking about this first thing. That is my daughter, Mikayla Sienna Bizzell. She is 10 years old, but she thinks she is 20. This picture better represents our relationship as I'm trying to hold on to the times that I have with my baby girl. But woo, man, that's how she is. But during this time, as a professional speaker, I am not able to leave my house and go speak as much or at all, especially in the last couple of months. And so I've just done my best to allocate more time, more intentional time to my kids. My wife usually does most of the cooking, but I said to my wife and I said to my daughter, she's getting older, I said, okay, Mikayla, you know how to cook breakfast stuff. Let's learn how to cook some dinner because daddy can cook a little bit. I know mommy cooks most of the time, but daddy can throw down a little bit. And I asked her, I said, Mikayla, what is your favorite thing to eat when we go out? She said, oh, I love fettuccine Alfredo. Love it. I love it too. I said, hey, let's make some fettuccine Alfredo. So that is just a picture of the delicious fettuccine Alfredo that we had. If you haven't eaten lunch yet, I apologize because I know your stomach is probably, gurgling a little bit. And I know your taste buds are causing your mouth to water a little bit. But this was, and I added a little broccoli, got to have that, it was really, really good. First time. And those aren't fettuccine noodles. Those are linguine. Daddy messed up, got the linguine noodles, not the fettuccine, but it was all good. And here's a secret ingredient to it. And I'd never made it before, by the way. It's heavy whipping cream. The sauce is heavy whipping cream and whatever kind of cheese you want to put in it, Parmesan cheese or what have you. That's it. And you literally just put it in the pan and let it warm up a little bit, mix it up a little bit, put some Parmesan down and put some other, maybe you want some Romano cheese or whatever. Just mix it in. That's the sauce. And so I share that because that sauce is like the foundation. If all you had were dry noodles and chicken and broccoli or whatever other vegetable, it would be like a bodybuilder's meal. And so with leadership, a lot of times the missing ingredient, the secret ingredient, not even secret, but the little known ingredient is inspiration. It's inspiration. It's the ability to help the people that you're with feel better about what's going on. And if we break down the word inspiration, spirare, the Latin root of it, means blow or breeze, or in other translations, breath. So inspiration literally means breath in or life in. So as a leader, that ingredient you need, and it doesn't matter what capacity you hold or what title you hold, you've got to be able to breathe life into the people that follow you or the people that you're tasked with leading or advising. You've got to on a regular basis. And see, since we can't do it by physically meeting, we've got to turn to different alternatives. And you're supposed to literally breathe life into the people that you follow. I want you to get that. I don't want you to overlook that, because a lot of times people are like, well, everything's not positive all the time. I get it. You're absolutely right. And I'm not saying that you have to be positive every single time. I'm not saying that you got to be bubbly. Hey, everybody, how are you? Hi, hi. Like, you don't have to be like that. You be yourself. You be authentic to your personality, but you do need to be a beacon of light. Even if you're talking policies and procedures, you need to be a beacon of light. You've got to make sure that you're intentional about doing that. That you're intentional, that you state this is what it is. Just like the example with my daughter. I cook every now and again, but I want to make a point. Hey, every week, Mikayla, we're going to be making a meal. And here's why we're going to be doing it. Daddy wants to help you learn how to make more than just breakfast. You get my point? You've got to be intentional about your inspiration. And it's got to be that secret ingredient. Now, how do we do this? What does this actually look like depending upon where you are in your leadership role? Well, consistent and helpful engagement. This is the biggest component of that. This is how you can truly inspire people. And because I want to make sure that I differentiate, I'm not saying that you have to, rah, be a cheerleader all the time and have your meetings start out with music, and you could do all that cool stuff. But here's how you really inspire people: consistent and helpful engagement. Here's one major way. You can add them to your social media notifications. And so I just have a picture up here, Instagram, right? If depending on if you're working with students, if you're working with staff or faculty, whatever their social media is, you go to their social media, you follow them if that relationship is there, right? But if it's a colleague or something like that, or it's a student that you don't mind, them, following you on your social, go to, on this example, Instagram, you can follow, click on the person, and you click that little button that says following. Then it'll take you to the next screen that says notifications. Then you go to notifications. Then it'll take you to another screen. And then you can just click that button or those buttons to the right, to whereas you get notifications for every post they share or every story they share. Now, it's not 100% because Instagram and all these different platforms are changing, right? But you'll be able to see their stuff usually at the top, or you'll get a little notification on your phone that, oh, Odell posted something, or Casey posted something, or Nathan posted something. So then you can engage with it. You can like it. You can comment. You can do those types of things, because a great way to inspire people is to show them that they matter. Social media is a way for people to get attention. Period. That's not necessarily a bad thing. And for leaders, we can use it as a super positive thing. You engage. Again, depending on your demographic, maybe it's Facebook. Maybe it's another social platform. Maybe it's Pinterest. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's an email, something to where you're consistently engaging with them. Also, share positive playlists and songs. Music is language to the soul. So if there's a cool song that came out, or there's a new artist that you were, looking at, and you listen to one of their songs and you enjoy it, it's that simple. You can share positive playlists in iTunes. You can share positive songs. These are different things that you can do to inspire people without necessarily meeting with them. You can do this off meeting, right? You might have, and I know everybody, and I'm grateful that you're on, but I know you're having a ton of virtual meetings. You don't necessarily have to have a virtual meeting. You can shoot them a message. You can shoot them an email and just say, hey, here's a positive playlist that I was listening to. And you can even share, you can be vulnerable to an extent and say, hey, I was going through some stuff and I popped on, this Adele's song or this Sam Smith song, or, so you can just share that. And what this does, it lets people in without making it too intrusive on you. Because depending on your personality, you might not want a lot of people in your personal life. Like I shared the social media thing. Maybe you don't want the people you work with to follow you on social media, but you can still share positive playlists and songs to help them connect to something positive to inspire them. And I'll use this example really quick. When I was younger, my parents split up when I was really young, when I was about 7 years old. And it was a rough time. It was a really rough time for me. I really didn't understand why they split up. I didn't know what it was. And this is around the time when I started listening to the Jackson 5 or Michael Jackson and his brothers when he was younger. And I just love the music. Like I just fell in love with the music. Then I found other older music that I fell in love with. And I'm still a huge fan of all that stuff today. And so even now, as a 35-year-old man going through all the stuff that everybody's going through, if I play little Michael Jackson, I feel better. I just feel better. And if not just for the moment, I feel better. And so you sharing a positive song, you sharing a positive playlist, it really allows people's feelings to be a little more positive. So you can do that. And I love this quote by Ralph Waldo Emerson. What lies behind us and what lies before us are tiny matters compared to what lie within us. What lie behind us, maybe our past, right? Or what lie before us. We have no idea what's lying before us with everything that's going on. But still, I agree. It says they're tiny matters compared to what lie within us. See, inspiration wakes up what's within all of us. Dr. King said we're all tied together in a garment of mutual destiny. We're all tied together, and a part of that garment is stitched with inspiration. And so as a leader, you've got to make sure that that ingredient is on your leadership sauce, or is in your leadership sauce. And another way, you can help people become motivated. You can inspire them by their vision. See, inspiration is about your feelings. Motivation is about your vision. So not only do you inspire people by giving them different things, different outlets, different mediums, but you also give them a clear path to accomplishment. What does this look like on the other side? And even as you're maximizing the meetings that you are having, even though you're meeting less, right? You can still give them a clear path to accomplishment. So many meetings, and you don't have to put this in the chat, and you can't see my face, but I'm winking. You don't have to put this in the chat, but so many meetings oftentimes lose their meaning because they don't have a clear objective. And my mentor that I shared with you earlier, I showed a picture, William Thompson. One thing I loved about him, and we're still connected, but he is one of the shortest conversationalist on the phone ever. He will send me an email that's like 3 lines and say, yes, we have a meeting scheduled at 1:30. Have your questions ready. He'll call. It's like, hey, how's the family? Good. Family's doing good. All right, all right. So what you got for me? Cool. Okay. Good. Good. Uh-huh. Good. Well, I want to give you one piece of advice. Let's link all that stuff together in one piece of advice. Da 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 da. That's what you should do. When you do it, let me know, and end the conversation. And he'll literally hang up after he says end of conversation. It's the most hilarious thing. But he is always one of those people that says, "Hey, let's get this done efficiently. Let's make sure I cover everything that you need." And if you do meetings like that, where you give them a clear path to accomplishment, what are we accomplishing at this meeting? Oh, we're meeting to meet again. Okay. We're meeting to check status. Where you can shoot me a text message. As a leader, you can be the captain that steers that ship a little better. Say, hey, you know what? Last month we had 14 Zoom meetings, right? This month, let's see if we can have 7, right? And accomplish more in less time. Let's see if we can do that. So meeting 1, we're going to do this, we're going to do this. So just give them a clear path to accomplishment, because if you can make it make sense, then you can make it shorter. And I love this quote by Shakespeare. I don't have it up, but Shakespeare said, "My best is making old words sound new." My best is making old words sound new. As leaders, if you can make long meetings shorter, if you can make more meetings fewer, and still accomplish and give the people that are following you things to accomplish, that'll be some of the best work that you can do as a leader, especially in times like these where we need more time to mentally collect ourselves. And we all understand that, being professionals, we all know that your emotions go up and down anyway. If you're going to the office every day, if you're hanging out every day, but even now, we need to give the people that follow us a clear path to accomplishment. So I just wanted to go over that. Just a quick review. That was the secret ingredient: inspiration. We got to make sure that we are the light. We have to make sure that we're sharing the light. We also have to make sure that we're following, we're engaging consistently. We got to make sure those things. And the second component, 5 greatest questions every person must answer. If you got something out of that first segment, just say me. If that's you, just say me really quick. Just say me, because this next one, we're going to go a little deeper. I got the shovel. You can't see it, but I got the shovel and I'm digging. That's right. Me. So my mentor introduced me to another mentor by the name of Dr. Miles Monroe. Dr. Miles Monroe, I consider, may he rest in peace, was one of the greatest orators I ever heard. And I'll put him up against anybody. And the last speech I heard Dr. Monroe give was this one: 5 greatest questions every person must answer. Now, for the sake of time, we're not going to be able to go super deep into this, but I want you, these are the 5 greatest questions. It doesn't matter what time of the year, what season of life, what era, these questions hold true. Now, these questions are difficult. These questions are a bit philosophical. My goal for this time is to just give you these questions so that you can start thinking about them as we move on, but also in time and using your discretion and your discernment, you give them to the people that follow you. Let's go ahead and get the ball rolling. The first question is, who am I? Who am I? That's the first question. And that question is directly linked to identity. Who am I? And the challenge with this question is that nowadays we have so many potential answers. Who am I? Well, I'm a father, I'm a son, I'm a husband, I am a professional speaker, I'm an author, I am an artist. I am a part-time basketball player that could probably still beat, the average high school kid playing. So you have all of these different things, right? But then you could go deeper into that, and a lot of people, they do. And so because we have so many options, therein lies the challenge. How many of you on here, and you don't have to comment or you can comment with LOL, because this is gonna be funny because most of you on here is gonna get it. How many of you with your significant other, your spouse, or a friend, a close friend, maybe a roommate, you ask this question? The answer to this question is almost always, I don't know. Here's the question. Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm hungry. Hey, what do you want to eat? Almost always. Oh my gosh. Almost always with my wife, who I love, who I've been with this month. We will celebrate 12 years of wedded bliss. Even now. What do you want to eat? I don't know. I'm not sure. Why is that the question most of the time? Why can you, for those of you commenting, how do you know that? Because we have too many options. We have too many options. So when you have so many options, sometimes you get frozen. Well, I don't know. Do I want Chipotle? Do I want Panera? Do I want, oh man, I had that yesterday, so I can't get the same thing twice. 100 years ago, I bet if I asked the same question to a group of people, they wouldn't have the same answer. They would say, well, whatever's in the back, whatever I killed, the deer's running rampant, whatever it is, that's what it would be, because they didn't have stores. They didn't have the opportunity to go to convenience stores or restaurants or all that stuff. So they had to, what's back there, or what berries are growing, So when you're asking the question, who am I? There's so many different things. We got to settle on something, and we got to own whatever that is, no matter what anybody else says. And that's the really tough part. But as a leader, you have to be able to know who you are to an extent, like who you are as a leader in your position. But also you got to help your followers know that too. Identity. You also need to know the identity of your organization and what it's supposed to accomplish. Here's the next one. Whew, this is good. Where am I from? Where am I from? And I don't mean where you're from as it relates to where you were born or your ethnicity or anything like that. And I'm just going to break it down in these two ways. Then we'll move on from this question. But where am I from? Either who are your ancestors, or who is your God, and or who is your God, depending on how you want to put that together. If you don't want to put it together. But here's why this is important. This is a super important question, because it gives you your value system. Where you're from dictates your values and where they start. Now, not necessarily where they finish, but where they start. And I'll give you a quick example. I shared with you that my dad was in the military. One weird thing that my dad always used to do when I was a little kid was we used to have these drills. And these drills were always super uncomfortable and weird, and I didn't understand them. We had a what to do if somebody breaks into the house drill. We had a what to do if somebody gets poisoned drill. We had all these different things. I'm a little kid, and I mean like 5, 6, 7 years old when he's taking me through these drills, and he's not telling us when the drills are going to happen. So I remember waking up one night where it's just like, hey, we got to go. Oh, we got to go. Hey, go in the closet. And he's just shouting all these directions. I'm like, what's going on, Dad? What's going on? Like, somebody's in the house. I'm like, oh my God, somebody, we're going to die. Like, all right, this is what happens. You get in the closet. You don't hear anything. Then you jump out the window. It's going to be a quite of a fall, but you can make it. You'll survive, and just run to the neighbor's house. It's like, what in the world? I'm 6 years old. Then I find out that it's fake. It's not real. So then, not only am I like freaked out in that moment, but moving forward, I'm like, yo, people be breaking in, huh? So we live around a bunch of criminals. They gave me trust issues, y'all. They gave me trust issues to this day. If you ever see me in a room, you might see me near the exit. I'm trying to figure out a way out because I'm like, yo, so what if somebody comes up here? I'm always thinking like, what if somebody comes up here and does something crazy? But that's how I was raised, right? So that's a value that, right or wrong, that's where I came from. My dad. And if you're spiritual, if you're religious, or you subscribe to those things or what have you, thou shalt not do something because something bad is probably going to happen. So that value system, whether or not you still subscribe to it or believe it. So where am I from? That causes you to identify your value system, where it's from. Maybe it's good, maybe it's bad. You decide that as an adult, you make that decision. But as a leader, you can help people say, okay, where does that come from? Why is that person that way? Why is that person always late? Why is that person having this attitude? You can identify those things, and it helps you as a leader, but it also helps the people that you're leading. Ooh, here's a big one. Why am I here? Next question. Why am I here? Why am I here? Not just here on this meeting right now, but why are you here on this planet? Why are you here on this planet? And it's not necessarily because, mom and dad had a crazy night. Like, maybe it's not necessarily that, but why am I here speaks directly to purpose. When the purpose of a thing is unknown, abuse is inevitable. When the purpose of a thing is unknown, abuse is inevitable. That's a quote by Dr. Miles Monroe. And so you have to think about your purpose, why you're here on this planet. And I can't speak for every single person, but I believe this is just what Odell believes. This is what Odell believes. I hope that that's resonating with you. This is just what Odell believes. Odell believes that every human being has the same purpose. We have the same purpose. Every single human being underneath the sound of my voice, every single human being on this planet has the same purpose, just like every bumblebee has the same purpose, just like every animal, every species has a specific purpose. Your purpose, my purpose, everybody's purpose is to give the world a glimpse of heaven by what you do, what you have, and who you are. That's your purpose. Your purpose is to give the world a glimpse of heaven by what you do, what you have, and who you are. If you don't like that wording or that phraseology or that connotation, you can just say it like this. Your purpose is to perpetuate good, is to keep good going around and around. Now, I don't have time to go deeper into this because I know different people have different definitions of good. But as a leader, you should be aware of what is good for the people that you're leading. You should be aware of what is good for the people that are underneath your advisement or your mentorship or your leadership. You should have an awareness of that, and you just help point them to what is good. That's it. That's why earlier when I talked about the secret ingredient of inspiration, you just point them to what's good. Odell, all these crazy things are going on right now. I know, but you just point them to what's good because that's the purpose. That's what you should do. And so that's your purpose. And you've got to really, really connect to that purpose. You got to ask yourself that question. You have to answer the question for you, but also help other people answer it for them. Fourth question. What am I capable of doing? This speaks to your potential. This speaks to your potential. What do you have the capability of doing? And another question, we can definitely ask it now based on what's going on, is what does this make possible, right? What does this make possible? So what am I capable of doing? I made a post on social media a while ago, and I'm very, very particular about what I post, especially now, that though all of the things that we're going through due to COVID is bad, man, if this would have happened 25 years ago, imagine how different life would be. And that was the basis of the post. Like, imagine how different life would be. We literally probably would not be having this conversation right now. We wouldn't be able to, maybe on a teleconference, right? Maybe we could just talk 25 years ago. But this time that we're going through, the tough, challenging time, it shows you how capable we are of overcoming. It shows you how the potential of a human is truly infinite. My grandfather, may he rest in peace, he lived to be 75 years old. He was born in the late 1800s. And as a little boy, I mean 11, 12 years old, the first commercial airline came out, which was around 1913. Just a quick history lesson. 1911, 1913, the first commercial airline. If you go back a little further than that, when my great granddad was a little boy, little boy, the Wright brothers, first in flight, December, Kitty Hawk, 1903. So like things took time to get there, but my granddaddy, being a little boy in Eastern North Carolina, he, as a little boy, this is around the same age as my daughter, didn't think that human beings could fly. Didn't think it was possible. Saw bugs flying, right? Saw the birds flying. Nah, human beings can't do that. We ain't supposed to do that. We're supposed to walk on our feet. Got 2 feet. Use them. Use what God gave you to get to where you need to go. Maybe you can use a horse. That's four legs right there. You can use that. Move forward. You can do that. But then when he got a little older, y'all, when he got a little older, he would look up in the sky and he would see people flying. So when he was born, people can't fly. People aren't supposed to fly. I'm sure his parents thought there was no such thing as flying ever. Then as a teenager, he's like, oh, snap, they flying. My grandfather died in 1975. My great-grandfather died in 1975. The moon landing was in the late 60s. He got to see the moon landing, y'all. So he went in his lifetime, just 70 some odd years. People can't fly. So, wow, people flying. Wow, people flying out of this world. So I share that because you're capable of so much. And you've got to let the people you lead know that. I know we're going through tough times, but we're capable of so much. Let's make sure that we connect this to our purpose. Let's make sure we understand our value system. Let's make sure we know who we are and we live that out and we walk that out on a daily basis, which leads me to the last question. How will I be remembered to those I was assigned to? How will I be remembered to those I was assigned to? See, we are not obligated to serve everybody. I know we want to. I know we all want to be superheroes in our own minds. But I remember my pastor, may he rest in peace. He said this, and it wasn't for me. It was for my wife. My wife was next to me when he said it in church. He said that, that's not your ministry. Like he wasn't addressing my wife directly, but he was just saying that's not your ministry. He was making a joke that a lot of times we try to do everything for everybody instead of just focusing on our assignment. And so how will I be remembered to those I was assigned to? You weren't assigned to everybody, but you were assigned to the place that you're working at right now. So how will you be remembered to those people? You were assigned to the organization that you're in charge of leading. How will you be remembered to those people? You were assigned to your family, right? You just showed up. I showed you a picture of my parents. I don't remember that picture. My grandma took that picture. I was there, but I wasn't there because I don't remember. All I remember one day is waking up, realizing, oh, hey, that's my dad. Hey, that's my mom. I don't remember where I was before that. All I know is I was assigned to be their oldest son. That's all I know. You were assigned to be where you are. How will you be remembered to those you were assigned to? That's a huge question. And I want to make sure that that you just look at these questions really quick. 5 greatest questions. Make sure that you take note of them. And as we're winding down to a close, as we get into the last component of this, take some time because these questions, the answers are going to change. The answers are going to be more refined. The answers are going to make you better. And so you've got to be willing to do that. So actions as we move on. If you've gotten something out of this so far, just put in the chat me. Just say me. And we're going to go into specific actions that 98% of the population underrate, that leaders cannot miss out on, that you got to take advantage of. And I love this quote by Charlie Tremendous Jones. You're the same person today that you'll be in 5 years, with the exception of 2 things: the books you read and the people you meet. The books you read and the people you meet, the books you read and the people you meet. That's why everywhere I go, I love to give books. And because of this virtual space that we're in right now, as I said before, everybody on here, stay to the end. I'm going to show you how you can get a free audio book sent directly to your inbox. Networking, right? Networking. And this is why I labeled this segment of the presentation specific actions that 98% of the population underrates. See, we know that birds of a feather flock together. We know that you have to network to go where you need to go. We know this. But a lot of life isn't in the knowledge, it's in the implementation. It's in the execution. How do we execute it? Don't just collect connections, build relationships. Build relationships. But also, we got to build relationships and find ideas. This is the key. And I want to give you something very, very specific as it relates to this. Interview where you want to go. This is going to, some of you are going to get this right now. Some of you are going to get this after you eat lunch or after, you have dinner. You're like, oh my gosh. But some of you are going to get this in a few weeks. But oh my goodness, for those of you that get it, interview where you want to go. Whatever it is you want to be as a leader. I want to get my PhD, Odell. I want to be the president of a school, Odell. I want to do whatever. I want to start my own business. Whatever it is, interview where you want to go. And here's the beautiful part about mostly everyone listening to the sound of my voice and watching this presentation. You have a superpower. Oh, you didn't know that, but I'm telling you have a superpower. Unfortunately, it's not like a really, really cool superpower like healing powers, unless you do have that. But this is a superpower. You're connected in some way to higher education. In some way. Maybe you work directly in it. Maybe you're in Greek life. Maybe you're in sorority life, fraternity life. Maybe you're in student activities or what have you. You're connected to higher education, which means you're connected to a school, which means that will get you indoors that a lot of titles won't, because you can say with confidence and honesty, if you're going to interview a CEO, I want to be a CEO, Odell. Cool. Interview a bunch of CEOs and get their story. But how do I get in? Just tell them that you're doing a project for insert your higher education institution. And think about it like this. You are, because the better leader you become, the better your organization becomes. The better your organization becomes, the better your school becomes. So you really are, by working on yourself, you're helping to grow the name of the organization, the name of the school. And maybe that's something you clear with your boss if you want to use that language. But especially if you want to be like the president of a school, oh man, it's easy to get that conversation going, but you got to interview them. And you have to use the words, hey, I want to interview you. Here's why. Most people don't get interviewed. Most people don't get interviewed. You can say, oh, I would love to set up a call with you. Yeah, can I call you? No. You can't. You have to use the word interview, because most people don't get interviewed. People that get interviewed are like famous, right? They're quote unquote, I'm using air quotes, important people. So you interview where you want to go. This is huge. I hope you all get it, because even if you don't want to use this little nugget for yourself, imagine giving this to your students, because their superpower even goes a little deeper to yours, because they're young. They're younger in a lot of ways. And even if they're not young students, maybe they're non-traditional students, they're still students. And education creates hope in our minds. We know if we get education, we have hope. Interview where you want to go. And I'll add this as we're closing up. The only thing in life that should be separated by color is laundry. The only thing in life that should be separated by color is laundry. So you need to interview people, build relationships with people, build connections with people that are different. And you need to intentionally seek out people that are different, because it's easy to just be comfortable and, oh, I'm black, I'm just going to talk to black guys because I'm a black guy. No, talk to some other people. And hey, it's okay. It's okay if you don't know everything about the culture. In fact, you don't. So just own it. Remember, who am I? I know who I am. It's okay. You need to know who you are and go to people that are different, because people that are different than you are going to be able to give you different perspectives and different things. I think so many times we overrate what we can do for strangers, but we underrate what we can do for our inner circle. So speak to your inner circle, talk to them, get to know how can I better serve? How can I better help? And how can I better network within? And I love this quote: if we continually grow within, we will never be without. If we continually grow within, we will never be without. That's an Odell Bizzell original, so you can have that. And I'll share this really quick as we're closing up, you all. This is a picture of my grandfather's gravesite. My grandfather died in 1974. I'm named after my grandfather. One thing that I am tasked with is helping this world get better. It's a picture of my grandparents. It's helping this world just be better. And so not just for everybody outside, but those two people that you see, my parents. How can I make the world better for them? How can I make the world better for the little boys like me back in the day, the little teenagers like me, the uncertain college graduates? Imagine how uncertain the college graduates are nowadays, right? How can I make it better for my family? How can I make it better for the people that I touch and that I reach? Like, that's what it's really all about. And as we bring this to a close, thank you all for being on. I know we're going to have some time for Q&A. I want to share this quote by Ben Franklin: life's tragedy that we get old too soon, but wise too late. We get old too soon, but wise too late. Let's make sure as leaders that we're doing the things to help infuse inspiration into those people that we lead, that we're doing our very, very best to not just inspire them, but giving them everything that they need to serve their purpose, helping them ask better questions, not just giving them answers, but helping them ask better questions, and then connecting them to the right people and connecting us to the right people as well. If you got something out of this, thanks so much for sticking on. And before we go to the Q&A, I just want to give you all a really quick, these are the steps of how you're going to get your free audio book sent directly to your inbox. Step one is you go to odellbizzell.com/free-book. Then step two, you put your information in the boxes. It's just your name and your email. And then you check your email. You download, it's going to be a link. You download, and I'm going to add a few special goodies in there for you all too, for being on. But thanks so much. And after that, I will turn it back over to my main man, Casey. Don't call me Don Cornelius.
You can call me Don if you want. I don't mind. I don't mind. Odell, thank you. And thank you for everyone who's been hanging out. We certainly are going to be conscious of your time. Odell, there have been a couple of questions that have come in privately on the chat. I welcome everyone else who's here to go ahead and share your questions as well. The first one is this. So you'd mentioned wisdom here at the end. I'm going to paraphrase here a little bit. So I want to tap into some of your wisdom. What would you say to the leader right now, maybe the student leader specifically, who's feeling a little aimless in this time where what they expected to be true in 2020 has gone a completely different direction? Like, what would you say to them about their ability to still be effective and transformational as a leader?
Ooh, that is a great question, and a lot of different levels. I just want to answer it with a couple. I hope this doesn't sound harsh. I don't want it to, but this is a reality. This is one of those harsh life lessons that we're all getting, not just student leaders, but specifically to the question, student leaders is learning how to deal with disappointment and frustration, right? So the one piece of advice I will offer was to be like, wow, is to just acknowledge, like, yeah, this sucks. Like, I think that's one thing. Then the second thing is to say, like, so what, how do we help this make sense for you? And what I mean by that is, man, I was supposed to be doing this and now I'm not able to do this. Okay, well, what can we do, right? Look at all the things that we can do. Count up all those things that are, and don't look at all the things that are not, and continuously have a running list. That's one thing that my mentor taught me is, when you're unsure of stuff, when you don't know, when you're broke, when you're destitute, just count up all the blessings that you have. Count up all the good things. And again, it sounds cliche, but cliches work. Count up all those things and keep a running list where you refer to it. So whenever you do get down, and you will, and you don't have that job or you don't have that, you can go back and look and say, okay, well, at least I have that. Let me focus on this thing that I can control. And last thing I'll say is we're in a place where we literally have no control. Nobody has control. Nobody knows. So we're all there. So just helping the student leader or that leader know, hey, we're all here. So let's get even, let's get eye to eye and say, what's the best path for us right now in this moment? I think that will help them better deal.
It's a great answer. Thank you. So the second question is coming from someone who I'm going to assume is a professional. And I'm paraphrasing a little bit of their question here. So the title of this presentation is Meaningless Leadership, not meaningless, as you pointed out. What do you say to the people who have been making every conversation into a formal meeting, right? So, for example, something that maybe used to be an email or a quick phone call, now it's, can we set up a Zoom conference and schedule an hour and stuff like that? What do you say to those people who are seeing that as the most effective path for leadership at this time?
Yeah, so it's behind closed doors, Casey, and I know many people listening to this, you got the side conversations. I've had, friends in higher ed, like, man, they zooming me out. It's 3:00 and I've had 8 Zoom meetings already. And so it's I think one point we got to look at, okay, there are trying, right? And sometimes when things are lacking, if you mess up your right knee, you're trying to rehab, you might overcompensate with your left knee a little bit. So there's a lot of that going on. I think for the person that is, maybe they are receiving that, I think look at it from that perspective. They're trying to overcompensate and it's okay. But also, I think if you're that leader that is setting up all because I have to have these benchmarks, I have to have these things going on, I would say to you, help it make sense. And that's a phrase that I use all the time with my wife. I got that phrase from therapy. Help it make sense for me, right? Like, why is this? Because couldn't we have, and then, so you don't just ask the question, then you offer solutions. So you don't just present a problem. You always present a problem within the context of maybe this is a good solution. So in that example, you say, okay, we had this many meetings, or we're having all these meetings. Couldn't we have done this, and this, and would this have satisfied the requirement to do da, 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 da? And then you leave the question open, which goes back to what we were talking about. You ask questions. If you can ask questions, it's open-ended versus saying, these are just a bunch of stupid meetings, we don't need them. That's a statement that closes people's minds. But you rather put in and say, okay, we met about this and this and this and this. This is what we did. So you're showing that the person that's leading you, hey, I was paying attention, but could this be more efficient? Could this be more effective? Offering that solution, I think, would better bridge that gap, because the leadership, and I've talked to college presidents, Casey, and I know I'm sure you have as well, they have to do a certain amount of stuff to justify, things. They have to. So if, as long as you can try to help them bridge that gap between efficiency and frequency, then I think that'll help them better deal with those meetings.
Thank you so much, Odell. Hey, everyone who's here, speaking of efficiency and frequency, just want to put a quick plug in. We are putting out free content like this program that you were just in today, or you're viewing sometime in the future, because we want to be good to the community. So please tell a friend, tell a colleague, share this post when it goes live. Visit forcollegeforlife.com to learn more about Odell or other speakers. Check out blog series, more future programs coming up. We want to be here for you during this time. And as we've been saying as our mantra lately, when you're ready, we're ready. We want to get back to what we do best, and that is speaking and inspiring actions. and ideas on campus and beyond. So thank you for tuning in today. Certainly appreciate it. And thank you to Odell Bizzell for being a fantastic host and tour guide for this session. Again, much appreciation, Odell. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you all. Have a great day.